Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. We still hear people discuss Tesla's price cuts or cross margin from this quarter to the other quarter, and that they should do advertising. Well, as Elon said, the short-term variations in gross margin and profitability really are minor relative to the long-term picture. Autonomy will make all these numbers look silly. Yes, exactly, but it seems like people don't really get how silly. So let me show you why Tesla's profits today don't matter at all. Their car business hardly matters at all when we look at the potential of Tesla's full self-driving software. So let me try to visualize this for you so you can see just how silly these discussions truly are. And let's dive right in. So we still hear people talk about Tesla need to do more advertising and not so many price cuts. But this discussion will look so silly in 2030 and going forward. Because Tesla's profit from selling cars is going to look like its profits has flatlined compared to what Tesla will bring in from its full self-driving software. So I would like to show you why we need to really stop looking at Tesla as a car company at all, but only as a data collecting company, a software company, robotics company, so in generally a technology company. As Tesla's fleet of vehicle is more like data collectors than cars. Sure, Tesla stays alive right now because of the money they get from people buying their cars, and they are making good cars. The Model Y does not become the world's best-selling car by being a bad car. It is the safest car and one of the best cars in the world, but in reality, the only thing Tesla really wants is the data that car provides for Tesla and future profitability. Because as Elon has said, the value of the company is primarily on basis of autonomy. That's really, I think, the main driver of our value. And I agree, the only one that understands the value of what Tesla is creating will understand that the value Tesla has today is tiny compared to what is to come. Even if they get to 20 million vehicles sold, would mean nothing in the greater scheme of things when we're talking about profits. As Elon said, short-term variation in gross margin and profitability really are minor relative to the long-term picture. Autonomy will make all of these numbers look silly. Yes, that is what I would like to visualize in this video, that all the talks about advertising, price cuts and gross margin will look very silly. So the numbers are of course all speculative, and they can end up being very wrong, but that is not the point. The point is, no matter what Tesla will take for their subscription for full self-driving software or a Robo taxi ride, or if Tesla solve it this year, next year, or in 2026, it changes nothing. The amount of profits Tesla will generate is going to be off the chart, so it doesn't really matter if this all starts in 2024 or 2028. The only thing that matters is that it will happen. So, of course, if you don't believe Tesla will ever solve full self-driving or get it approved, well, you will just disagree with everything in this video, and that's okay. We can always see down the road who will be the ones closest to what will actually happen. But the video is for people that, like me, saw version 12 of Tesla's full self-driving software, a car that has learned to drive from only watching video. No more programming is needed from Tesla. Now they only need to feed it more data, and that is why getting as many cars on the road into the fleet is the most important thing right now. So in my opinion, Tesla has already solved full self-driving. As they have solved AI vision, they have a neural network driving a car. So it will be able to do everything we can do at some point. It's only a question, in my opinion, of how much data they can feed it. The faster we will get there where human supervision is no longer needed. Because human can drive cars with their vision and neural network, yes, but we are not very good at it. We kill about 1.2 million people every year, and about 40 million people are injured. So yes, we can drive, but we are far from perfect. So autonomous vehicles will have less accidents, as it is not distracted. It can see 360 degrees around the car at all time, which you can't. It will become better than a human very quickly, as Tesla's millions of vehicles on the street can all learn from each other, where humans can only learn from his or her own driving. So they will surpass us very quickly when we have solved vision, which Tesla has just done. This is such a big moment in history, and most people don't seem to get it. So I do believe that Tesla will have robo-taxis on the street by 2025. So that is what we will go with in this example, in this video. So if we say Tesla will have solved full self-driving sometime in 2024 and start production of the robo-taxis in 2025 and then ramp up production from there. But on top of this, we will also look at full self-driving subscription, where people still buy the car from Tesla and own it, but they don't buy the software from Tesla. I think the software might get too expensive or valuable, depending on how you look at it, so maybe Tesla don't even want to sell full self-driving software anymore, but only allow people to subscribe to the software, like we subscribe to pretty much anything else today. But these are the two only things we're going to look at. To keep it simple, as this is only to visualize the potential of full self-driving software alone. We could also have added the full self-driving subscription and also counted in the people that want to use it, not just for their family and their own use, but also use it as a robotaxi during the day when they don't use it and earn some money for themselves. But Tesla could very well take something like 25% of those earnings, just like Apple take a cut when you put an app on the App Store. But we are not going to count all of that in, only use full self-driving subscription and standalone robo-taxis. And then I'm going with Tesla's own targets of ending up with 20 million vehicles produced around 2030. I have set it for 18 million vehicles by 2030 and then get to that 20 million in 2031. But then keep it there and not take it any higher. But if you're worried about demand for 20 million vehicles, remember Tesla can just shift the production even faster over to robotaxis and sell less cars to customers. So demand will not be a problem when we have robotaxis in the picture. I will make the robotaxi ramp quite slow, even though Tesla has more than 100,000 vehicles from their leasing they can just implement in the fleet. I am not counting that in, but only producing about 40,000 units in 2025, so 1% of Tesla's production capacity will go to their robotaxis in 2025, and the rest to the car buyers. And then ramp it up from there, so by 2030 they will produce about 2.7 million robotaxis in that year, but the cumulative fleet size will be above 7 million units. But the cumulative production of all vehicles, including the robotaxis, will be above 64 million vehicles on the roads at that point. And all of these vehicles will be able to earn Tesla money every single day, either as a robotaxi or through full self-driving subscriptions. I set the take rate of the full self-driving subscriptions to 50% in 2025 because if this really is full self-driving, I think most people are going to want it, but I start at 50%, ramping up to 80% by 2028 when people have gotten used to it, maybe even so much so that most people will feel scared of driving in a car that does not have full self-driving software to protect them, as your chance of dying in a car crash will be much lower with the full self-driving car. So that is the take rate I have given it, but I keep it at 80% all the way up to 2040, as there will probably for a very long time still be people that just want to buy a car and that's it. And then I use the price of $299 for the full self-driving subscription, as that is only $3,588 a year. This seems almost too cheap, but let's just go with these numbers. So with the subscription of $3,588 a year, with a take rate of 80% and a fleet of 57 million cars, that is more than $164 billion for subscription alone in 2030. And then we take the 7 million robotaxis that will be in the fleet at that point, and we could also use transport as a service where people don't own the car but just pay a subscription for having a car on demand whenever they need it, and not just robotaxis where you pay per mile. But again, to keep it simple, we are just going to say robotaxis with 25 cents per mile, and an average of 60,000 miles per year for a robotaxi. That will be about $15,000 a year in profits. And remember, the subscription service is also almost 100% profits, as this is just software Tesla already has. But more than 7 million vehicles that will earn $15,000 a year. That is more than $100 billion. So robotaxis and full self-driving subscription combined in 2030 could easily be something like $270 billion. Just earnings from Tesla's full self-driving software. And we are talking profits here, and not from selling cars or energy or insurance or solar panels or anything else, just from their neural network. But like I said, and Elon said, long term this will look silly. So let's take this out all the way to 2040. Well, with the cumulated fleet of 264 million vehicles in the fleet at that point, and of those, 117 will be robotaxis, as I make the shift from making about 20% robotaxis in 2030 to 50% in 2035 to 75% in 2040. This could of course be something else, but again, it doesn't really matter. We are not trying to be precise, and no matter if robotaxis are going to be 40% or 80% of the production, Tesla earns money on their software either way. And maybe they won't even make cars to the public at that point, who knows. But this will make full self-driving subscription earn Tesla something like $422 billion. And their robotaxi fleet is something like $1.7 trillion with a T. So combined, Tesla could earn something like $2.2 trillion in 2040 only on their full self-driving software. Nothing else is counted in. But even if we say, okay, Tesla sells 10 million vehicles and earn $10,000 each, that will still only be $100 billion in profits. Even that big number will look kind of small. Okay, so Tesla earns $2.3 trillion instead of $2.2 trillion. It's a rounding error. Even looking at the entire global automotive manufacturing market that was worth about $2.86 trillion in 2021, well, Tesla's software alone will get close to these numbers. So now it is not insane. When Tesla is worth more than 10 of the biggest automakers in the world, Tesla's software alone will be worth almost as much as the entire global automotive industry. Insane. This really shows how stupid all these talk about Tesla's price cut and gross margin in Q2 or Q3 in 2023 is. Because if we say Tesla could have earned $12,000 in profit on every car they make this year if they just did some advertising instead of price cuts of those 1.8 million vehicles they are planning to make this year. That would have been like $21.6 billion in profit. But if Tesla now only earns, let's say half, $6,000 in profits, they would have made $10.8 billion. So Tesla would have lost $11 billion in 2023. But as you have just seen on this chart, with total potential profits from full self-driving software alone, it would hardly register on the chart here. It would be something like the bar in 2024. Yes, there is a bar, and exactly, you can hardly see it. It will only look like a blimp on the radar. It doesn't matter. So when Tesla believe that they will solve autonomy, The profits from selling their 2 million vehicles today will not matter at all in the long run. It's peanuts. Like I just showed, $10,000 in profit from 10 million vehicles will look like peanuts for Tesla. The profits on their cars today doesn't matter. Selling all their cars with any profits at all doesn't matter. They only need this today to stay alive. The only thing that matters is to make a fleet as big as possible, as fast as possible, to get Tesla's neural network to be able to drive better than we can, and then just get the fleet into the everlasting loop of full self-driving subscribers and robo taxis. Just like dealerships today is willing to sell a car at a loss as long as they get them into the everlasting loop of service and repairs. So getting as many vehicles into the fleet is what matters. Not just to grab more market share in the overall car market in the short run over the next 7 years, but to gather data and solve full self-driving and become part of the money printing fleet for Tesla in the long run. So what do you think a company that earns that amount of money in profits on software should be worth? Yes, exactly. That is why I don't care of the short-term stock rise and up and down and blah blah blah, as I'm here for the next 20 years. And today's economy of Tesla will look like Tesla had flatlined in the early 2020s. And then we can add energy storage, charging infrastructure, solar, insurance, data centers, Optimus robot that will become even bigger than full self-driving, and AI outside cars and robots that will also become bigger than the insane amount of money that Tesla's full self-driving neural network will bring in. When we say Tesla has only just begun, we mean that literally. As Elon said, autonomy will make all of the numbers of today's car business look silly. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.